Oh, please.
Knock, knock, it's the bewitching hour. Good morning, breakfast clubbers,
Good morning.
and welcome to your computer club meeting for November. And we'll look forward to seeing you again next month. So now we need to talk about trivia. National Native American Indian Heritage Month. National Peanut Butter Lovers Month. How many are on that club? National Hunger Awareness Month, Diabetes Awareness, Red Ribbon Month, and National Aviation Month. Well, today it would be a great day to fly. Clear, cool, good air density. Also, we need to remember tomorrow is Armistice Day, Veterans Day, and my wife's birthday. On our agenda today, it's the same lineup as we always have, but you can read the bottom line finally. And as usual, our financial report, we're solvent. Checking, petty cash, deposits. Grafton Food Pantry, we're running way behind last year, but it really occurred primarily in the first few heavy snow days that we experienced this year. So we're about $300 to $400 behind our normal contribution, which is around $2,000. So between this month and next month, up the ante. Today we have two speakers. We have a brief 5 to 10 minute presentation by Ken Cozy with regard to space registration. And our main event is Will Gerting telling you how you're going to spend your money. And we will talk about the remaining classes this month. And we always appreciate your volunteerism. If you're willing and able, come to the lab. There's always people that you can help, whether it's just to greet them or whether it's to actually help them on their phone or their computer or whatever. And we continue to safely clean your computers if you have that need to dispose of them. We are at this point 1,643 strong. And this meeting is open to all comers in the community, not just Computer Club. And you're always welcome here. The other brief announcements we've got is the MSF suite, office suite has expired in the lab, and we've actually updated those, right, John? So we're back in business. Last week we had about 4 machines that were operating on the office suite, and the rest of them had expired. We're part of the 365 community, so we have a subscription, and the subscription expired, but now John Sterling has been kind enough to ante up and get that taken care of. I don't know whether he'll send a bill to the club or not. It's in the mail. Auxiliary equipment. Sometimes we have people that come into the lab and expect to have the use of either the VHS conversion machine or the Kodak machine that copies photos to CDs or DVDs. And there are books at each of those stations, and then there's a book for the slides as well, conversion, that you can sign up in advance. So I just wanted you to be aware that that was available, so you can come in and sign up for a specific time. And if you come into that time, then there won't be any conflict of interest for the machine. Next month, we have a simplified cutting the cord presentation by Frank Geister. And in January, we have Northwestern Hospital, which has been a little bit of a duel. I had contacted Centegra to have a speaker, and with all the turmoil that's going on over there with Northwestern acquiring Centegra, there's been a shift in availability of folks, and so hopefully by January they have that all squared away, and we will have a speaker talking about computer technology, machines that help us live longer. I'm sure that will cover diabetes and heart rate and other chemical monitoring, blood sugar, etc. So be aware that that will be a great meeting. Okay, Ralph, do you want to come up and bring us up to date on classes?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah, I will. Had to advance the slide.
Well, good morning. I was thinking this morning, you guys are all getting smarter because the attendance at the classes have been dropping. So I thought, oh my goodness, everybody is really, really smart. Or maybe you've been other activities, whatever. But anyway, sorry and I mentioned last week's month, sorry we had to cancel September, but we had to because of Meadowview. But we had 7 classes in October, and we have 7 classes scheduled in November, and 2 of them have already happened. So there's 5 left, the balance of this month, and I'll just mention kind of quickly. Google Photos, which is the new upshoot at Picasa. Frank will be going over that. That seems to be a pretty good attended class. There's a lot of people that have Picasa on their computers, and Frank gets into a lot of things you can do with it, and I know there's new people coming that want to put it on. So that's going to be on Tuesday, the 13th of November, next week. And then we have PowerPoint for photographers. This will be a class where you can take your photos and put them into like a photo book, enhance them. You can add text to the pictures. You can add audio to it and make it a nice photo book. Then you can save it in a way that just be easy to transport to somebody else if you want to give them the book. Using Windows 10. We haven't had a Windows 10 class since spring. And I know in the meantime, there's been people that have went from Windows 7 to Windows 10. So we got a Windows 10 class coming up on Wednesday. Oh, 2 classes on Wednesday. Yeah, 2 classes on Wednesday. The PowerPoint is at 1 o'clock, and then the Windows 10 class is going to be at 6:30. On both of them, that'll be as usual. Then we got Snapseed. We had that one other time, and this is something pretty new. It's a photo editing application, and Frank does that, and it's kind of in conjunction with Google Photos. So it's a thing that you can enhance your photos, and you know, a lot of people want to take the red eye out of your eyes and different things like that. Snapseed is an easy way to do it with a couple of clicks. And that's going to be on Tuesday the 27th at 1 o'clock. Then the last class in November is after Thanksgiving, 29th, it'll be Android phones. We've been running a couple of classes on Android phones each month, as well as a couple of classes on iPhones and iPads, but our iPhone people like Bill Saletti and Bill Fritz have been gone. So we'll start that back up in January. Now there's no classes in December. We've never had classes in December. Too many people are busy with parties. So hopefully we'll have a good set of classes coming up for you starting January, February, March. We call it our spring or the winter session. And just watch for the email to come out from Jim Nelson. Thanks.
There's a few community events that I want you to be aware of that are coming up. One is the Prairie Singers. And I think I have that flyer here. And the Prairie Singers will be at the high school on December 15th. And Doug Steffi is with us this morning. If you'd stand, Doug. He is very happy to sell tickets to you, whether you like it or not. But welcome, Doug, and we'll try to drum up some business for you. The second item that I wanted you to be aware of was December 19th is the Chamber Orchestra Sing-Along that occurs every year. You do have to get tickets at CAMDESK, but they are free. And The association will have a board meeting in December. They did not have one in this month. The lodge hours have been modified for Thanksgiving, so you'll need to check your lifestyles or what other, actually, I'm sure it'll be posted on the bulletin boards, whether electronic or otherwise, with regard to the hours during the Thanksgiving period. And in December, there will be, obviously, as Ralph so poignantly pointed out, there will be a lot of neighborhood parties. Just don't overindulge. For the Thanksgiving period, we want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, but we will be closed on Thanksgiving Day and Black Friday so that you can spend time doing all that shopping that Will's going to talk about and be with your families. We thank you for your understanding on this, and now we'll move into the talk period of the I'll shut up and some other people will talk. First, we'll have Ken Cozy up, and he's going to talk about how you register your name and get out in space.
See you. Great. Good. Well, my 15-minute presentation got cut down to about 10. So we're going to move along very rapidly here. The theme of today is gifts, and so I have information on 2 free gifts for you that will go out to outer space. Thank you. Thank you. And also some gifts that are coming from NASA. NASA has been a great provider of free, not all, but free technology to private industry and to individuals, entrepreneurs who want to benefit by it. So we've been beneficiaries of that for 60 years now. In the right-hand corner there, you'll see the 60-year anniversary of NASA's foundation. And over those 60 years, there have been hundreds of new inventions that we've benefited from in our daily lives. And there you have a site on nasa.gov called Benefits to You. If you go there, you will find just an amazing amount of technology that we use today, every day. Also, they provided hundreds of thousands of jobs in private industry because of their activities. So today we're going to talk about e-memories, some new e-memories which are out there, electronic memories, and also nanotechnology print. Take a look at that sheet of paper in front of you, not the length or the width, but just take a look at the thickness of it, okay, the thickness of it. In nanotechnology, they can put 50,000 characters across the page on the width, just on the width. That's what we talk about with nanotechnology. Let's go to the next. Gotta move along quickly here. Let's see. Here we go. So we're going to look at using new technologies in space with Noah Cruz. By the way, you can follow some of this with the handout I've got. If you don't have a handout, raise your hand, and then some folks will make sure they can get one. Over there? Okay. Right here in Huntley, I've been able to keep contact with 4 missions of NASA. And you can too, right from your laptop, from your PC at home, your Mac, whatever. First one was to touch the sun, the Parker spacecraft. It's happening right now, this month. It's in the news. You can probably see it now that the elections are over, or most of it's over. You'll see a lot of news about coming close to the sun. We're going to touch the sun. We're going to find out about it, and it's very important to do that because our technology, our satellites, our transmissions, our day-to-day utilities are dependent upon being aware when the sun erupts with some of their solar flares. That's happening right now. It's in the news. Good news is it's right on target. It made its first pass, and we're successful. 25 more of them to come. Next is to dig in the surface of Mars, the InSight spacecraft. By the way, if you look at these names here and you look them up on the internet, you'll find a lot more information. It lands on the 26th, just after Thanksgiving. You'll hear a lot of information about there. We're going to dig into the Mars and find out what kind of minerals and metals are there for us to mine. Also to touch an asteroid, the OSIRIS-REx. It's right on orbit, right on time. It's gone 1 billion miles, 1 billion miles in space, and it caught up with its asteroid, and on the 3rd of December, it's going to start sending us back data and pictures. And then to land on the moon, yep, we're going back to the moon, and at this time, it's going to still be uncrewed, but at this time, it will be time capsules and other important rovers that will be going around the moon. Let's take a look at to touch the sun. I said it's going on right now. There's a beautiful graphic of it. And notice over here, there are 2 fingers here holding a flashcard, right? And on that flashcard are 1 million names of people, like myself and a couple other in the club that I know, have sent their names into NASA. And you can actually put your family's names on there too. It's gone now, but there's another one coming up soon that you can put your great-grandchildren, grandchildren, the ones that are interested in space, and put their name out there too. And I think they'd be pretty excited about that. Okay. Next is to explore under the surface of Mars for future colonies and mining. We got to know about its crust, its core, its mantle, what's going on. Where's the water? Right? We need water. And that's going to be out there too. And now look over here. See that 2 fingers there? And then that little dot. That is nanotechnology, one of the modern new technologies NASA is depending on. And on there are 2 million names of people. And it utilizes 3-dimensional printing. Next time, you can put your family's name on there. All you got to do, you may want to write it down, is go to nasa.gov and then look for InSight, INSIGHT, and you will see a button there called Participate. You press that button, you put in your name or your email address, and they'll notify you the next time they're putting the spacecraft up that will allow you to put your name or the name of your children or grandchildren or grandnephews and grandnieces in our cases. Their names will actually be out there if you want to participate. But it's a gift and it's free. That's a nice part, isn't it? To touch an asteroid, 2 years ago I made a presentation on this. Here's a thumb drive that they use. And it has on there information from 7,000 people worldwide. I put my ebook out there, and it's the first one of its kind in 7-dimensional technology. You can get a copy of that, or you can give a free copy of that on the back of the handout there. You can send this sheet, just send it to them, and they can download free the same text that is up there in 7 different languages, by the way, up in outer space right now. All that's happening on the 3rd of December. And afterwards, it's going to orbit the sun for millennia, so it's long term. 4 is to land on the moon. So far we've touched the sun, we've touched the asteroid, we've touched Mars, and now we're going to land on the moon with the time capsule. Now this is kind of interesting. See that? That's a dime. It's magnified quite a bit on this, thank goodness. A little dime. Now here, this little circle here is nanotechnology. It's a nickel wafer. It has on it 17,000 pages. 17,000 pages of a book. And then right above it, in that gold foil, it's actually a number of foils in there to protect it against radiation, is a 400 gigabyte. 400 gigabytes. Look at your fingernail on your little finger. That's how big it is. Okay, 400 gigabyte memory micro SD card, as they call it. And it's available commercially. $100, $250 is the list price, but it's available for you to use right now if you want. So we're sending that up there. We're sending it in a little time capsule that'll be about the size of that little hexagonal thing there. Both of them are the size of a dime. The whole thing's going to cost about $2,000 out of pocket, but it's worth it. Now, if that were the only thing, I'd be happy, but also Arch Mission is sending up the first secular library to the moon. 30 million pages of information is going to be on little wafers like this, going to come out to about 1.5 inches, and it will be the first lunar library. And you say, who's going to read that? Well, I've got an example for you here that our table is over there on the corner by the door. You can come over there later and you can actually see these little nanotechnology coins, if you will, or wafers, and you can start to see the little pages and things like that that are out there. On spacecraft, it's standard practice to have 1000x microscopes because of biology and other things that they need those for, and they project them on a big screen. So it's like a magazine. It's like a astronaut's magazine. They just stick it in their pocket. Also, here's something that knocked my socks off. I hope you are excited about it too, but it really did. And look at this. Does that anybody recognize that? That's a DNA double helix. You and I walk around with billions of them in our bodies, right? Well, Microsoft, you've heard of them. Microsoft Research and University of Washington have patented the method to put digital text on DNA. Now, this is artificial DNA they have. It's nobody's personal DNA, but they've been able to duplicate DNA, and these little molecules, we're talking about molecular level now, they can actually put data on there. And you see the DNA, which is part of your chromosomes, which is part of your nucleus, which is part of your cell, and you've got billions of cells in you. That's all going to be new technology of memory. That's how they're figuring out to keep all the data of our culture somehow backed up. Tremendous amount of data. So what I'm going to do, and we'll see if they accept it, but they're asking for 10,000 photographs. You can send yours in too. Just go to that website for DNA memory, and go to Google DNA memory, and it'll come up. You can put on there a photograph. It's going up to the moon, along with my stuff and stuff from Arch Mission and hundreds of other providers. What I'm going to put up there is a picture of a painting. A picture of a painting. Kevin Galloway was so nice to take a picture of a painting that Nancy Brandenburger did here, right here in Sun City. And it's a abstract painting. This is it right here. And we're going to give that to them, and they're supposed to be able to put it up into space for us, if it's accepted, and I think it will be because it's quite unusual. So here we are, Huntley, and we're right up there in the moon. And you can be too. If you want any more information, you can search NASA or Arch Mission. Go to my website, kencozy.com. It'll have a lot of this on there. You can use your smartphone, web. You can use your PCs. There are other governments doing the same thing, other religions. I've got a Christian Bible in my data. There's also the Torah. Israel is putting up a number of Jewish prayers. The Islam nations are putting up some of their information too. There's a lot of secular curators. One of the things I'm putting up is our U.S. Constitution and our Declaration of Independence and George Washington's first inaugural address, amongst other U.S. heritage documents. Because I'm looking ahead, I'm saying that in the millennia ahead, that's what this is for, as a time capsule, remember? As a time capsule, it's going to be up there for future generations to look at and to see what is it they're going to use that we're providing for them. Now, you can do all these things too. What I just did, you can do the same thing. If you want any help, just let me know. I've got extra radiation-proof wrapping and things like that if you need it. Okay, the last thing, because time is running out, is the free gift that I was talking to you about. The first ebook that went up to outer space, there's a copy of that on my website, and the whole website for that matter, all the documents, there are about 100 articles and ebooks on there that I've written. All that regarding space and about things around town here in Huntley for that matter, are out there, and they're free for download. So if you give this to, let's say you have a relative or a friend who has some children who are interested in science, you can just take this page and give it to them, or send it to them and say, here's a little present for you. They know how to do this stuff better than we do. They go to this website, and then they will be able to download from here the ebook, and if they want, in other different languages too, as well as hundreds of other interesting books and things which are going up to the moon. This one is already up in outer space, going toward that asteroid. And eventually will be a time capsule circling and orbiting the sun forever, for future generations, or who knows who will discover it. Right? Okay. That's it. I just did it. Yay!
Okay. Thank you for your timeliness. Quick announcements before we get to Will. One is that all veterans are welcome to go to Great Clips across the street and pick up a coupon for a free haircut if you'd like. So I was made aware of that, though I don't use that very often. But maybe around the fringes. Without further ado, oh, by the way, one other thing, we had a coffee pot fail. That's why we're a little short on coffee this morning. One of our pots went kaput. That now the main event is Will Gertig, and we will find out just how deep your wallet is. Will?
Okay. Well, to just do a little dovetail on what Ken was saying, the NASA thing, I'm not so sure that they would want to picture me to put up on the moon.
Yeah.
Imagine what an extraterrestrial would do if they saw that. They'd avoid us completely. So this is all about our annual wish list for techies and people that call themselves wannabes. What we want to do is give you a little idea of what's out there on the technical side, and prices go everything from the thousands down to a couple of bucks. So we're going to go through this list and we'll see what happens. Okay, we're going to do a couple of things. I've broken it down into 3 different categories: gifts over $100, gifts under $100 or around $100, and then stocking stuffers around $25 and under. So I do need to tell you that this is my research, okay? This is based upon my recommendations, my things I've done. This is not, in no way an endorsement by the club to say this is what you need to do. This is what I think that most of you will find interesting and most of you will find fairly necessary if you're doing anything in today's world of computers and technology. So let's begin with gifts over $100. Now, in the first category, electronics, we've got soundbars. You know what a soundbar is? Soundbar is that device that's generally rectangular. It's about yay wide by yay deep. It generally mounts over your TV or sits on a shelf underneath your TV. And you plug it into your TV to make it enhance the sound. It actually does surround sound without having speakers all the way around the room. A lot less expensive. An amplifier with speakers could be $500 to $1,000 or more. With a soundbar, you can get something. I bought a reasonable soundbar for $300, and it works very well. You can find them generally between $250 and $500, and they all kinds of great names. They connect easily into TVs, and anybody can figure out how to do that. It takes advantage of technology called fiber optics. Now, you've heard of fiber optics for years, but you've probably rarely heard about it in a home environment. This actually is a glass cable, a flexible glass cable that plugs into the back of the soundbar, and if your TV is so equipped, plugs into that, and it transmits the sound over fiber optics from the TV into the soundbar. Absolutely pure audio. Of course, with my hearing, I can't tell anyway. But those of you that are audiophiles will hear the difference. TVs. You know, I can't get excited about a 4K TV. I can't get excited about an OLED TV. I can't get excited about a QLED TV. I can't get excited about curved TVs. After they hit high definition and 50 inches, I kind of fell behind the curve there. You know, how else can you make it better? Okay? If you're 20-something, 30-something, You probably have the eyesight where you can see the difference between standard def and high def. I'm barely at that level. I mean, if you put me in front of a football game, I can see that it looks a little better, but you know, all of this technology gets lost on me. However, there are some things you would want to think about if you're going to buy a TV, okay? You have to understand that first off, a 4K TV requires certain broadcasting fundamentals. They have to be broadcasting in 4K for you to receive it in 4K. Remember back then when we talked about high def and standard def? Not all the TV stations were broadcasting in high def. This is the same way with 4K. There's another one after this, it's 4K Ultra. The progression is just gonna go on and on and on and on and on. If you're gonna buy a TV, just be aware that 4Ks are out there. You go to any place like Best Buy or places like that, they're gonna push it on you. You don't have to do that. Whatever looks good to you, buy it. Large appliances and home. You know, electronics has climbed into our refrigerators now, okay? It's to the point now where we're finding so much internet access to our home appliances. I saw a TV the other day advertised a refrigerator the other day advertised on TV that has a home messaging board into it. You know, we used to put magnets on TVs. Now you can actually scribble notes on this messaging board and it shows up for the rest of the family. You can post pictures on it. You can put your shopping list on it. I don't know. Just because you can doesn't necessarily mean you should, okay? I saw a commercial the other day for an oven that you can control with your smartphone. Okay, so I'm walking around with a control. It showed the picture of some guy working underneath the sink, and his phone goes off saying that he's gonna burn his cookies. Again, just because you can, should you? However, I have found some really cool things. There now is a brand of furnace that will actually call back to its manufacturing facility if it senses a problem. That's a good thing to have. Automatic service calls. They then call you and say, your system has phoned home with an issue. Do you want a service person to come out? So that's not a bad idea. I can see a benefit in that. But to worry about my cookies, I'm not so sure. Smart thermostats. These are anywhere between $100 to $250. You probably have heard about the Nest thermostat. That connects to a smart speaker. It allows you to connect to the internet to set your temperature programs remotely. This isn't new. This has been around for several years. I've had a Honeywell thermostat for probably 4 or 5 years that I absolutely love that connects to the internet. I have an app on my phone that allows me to control my thermostat. It's programmable, like any other thermostat that's programmable. I can set schedules and things like that. But the nice thing about that is I can go away for a week, and as I'm sitting in the airport getting on the airplane to come home, I can tell the thermostat to turn my heat back on. So air conditioning, perfect example. You don't want to burn that extra electric cooling your home while you're not home, but you want it to be able to keep it safe. One of the things that my thermostat does that I'm not sure Nest does is it has a winter alarm on it. So if for some reason I set the temperature to be, say for instance, 55 degrees, and I'm a snowbirder, and the temperature drops below 55 degrees because the furnace fails, it's going to contact me on my smartphone. It's actually going to set an alarm off on my phone telling me that my house is under temperature. And I can then pick up the phone and call my next door neighbor or whoever's watching my house, so I don't have to worry about a pipe freezing. So real benefit of having something like that. Instant home communication with your temperatures. Always you have tablets, computers, phones. I've broken them down into two different categories. First, we're going to talk a little bit about Apple. The Apple iPhone 10 has recently come out. It's just more and better of what was existing. But how much better do you really need? Seriously, how much better do you really need? I have an iPhone 8. I bought it 2 years ago. The iPhone 8 is still Apple's most popular selling model. And it's been replaced by 3 other phones already. Do you really want to spend $1,100 for a phone? Not me. Not me. But if you're all about technology, if you want that cutting edge, there are some significant benefits if you've got the iPhone 10. And if you want a slightly cheaper version of it, there is the iPhone, I think it's, what is it called? The XR? It's a little smaller, has some of the similar capabilities. The difference is though, you know, and how many of you guys have iPhones? Okay, you know, on that little button on the bottom, they call that the home button. It's not there on the iPhone 10. It is not there. It's one of the reasons it's not selling well. People are saying, I want the home button. Apple is just like Microsoft. They're going to keep shoving it down our throats until we accept it. But you vote with your dollars. If you don't like it, don't buy it. They'll get the hint. Okay? That being said, the 10 is technologically a better phone than the 8. It has a better screen, it has better cameras, it has better resolution. Same thing with the TV, I can't tell the difference. So I'm going to stay with what works, and when it breaks, then I'll replace it. The iPad Pro, I've seen these, and it's not a bad deal. I'm personally more in favor of using the iPad, especially the larger sizes. I have an iPad that's a 9-inch, and I recently got one for my wife. Paid $429 for it, not a bad price. That was Apple's retail. Couldn't find it at a better price anyplace else. And I sing competitively. I sing barbershop competitively. And we started getting our music in PDF files. And I'm trying to read my music on my iPhone, which is this little bitty screen. And I've got guys coming with rehearsal who have gone out and spent the big bucks and have bought the larger screen iPad and iPad Pros. They've got a new one now that's 13 inches in size. That's huge. Can you imagine reading a sheet of music on something like that? Unbelievable. Of course, you're going to pay for that privilege, okay? $1,700, lots of money. But if you've got a business or you have a good reason for it, you might be able to write it off. Those of us that don't, how important is that? Nice to have, but a little bit out of the price range for most people. Watches and fitness bands. You know, this all started back years ago with something called a Fitbit. You all remember the Fitbit? That was that wrist thing that just had a simple numeric display, and it really tracked our steps. Well, that really was the beginning of that whole movement. Fitbit seemed to last about a year, and then they died. I think that was pre-planned. Because it seems like after a year and a couple of months, it was dead, and you had to go out and buy a new one. That was okay though, because they were coming up with better ones all the time, more features. I finally got to the point where when I was buying Fitbits, I said enough is enough, and I bought an iWatch. Why did I buy an iWatch? Because it gives me more capabilities. Not only do I monitor my steps, I can monitor my heart rate, I can monitor my movements, I can use it as a watch, it keeps track of my calendar, it talks well with my iPhone, it just does a lot more than a Fitbit did. So I sucked it up and went out and spent the $300 and did it. And I'm still working on my original iWatch 1. Okay? It works fine. They're up to iWatch number 3 now, maybe 4. Yeah, I'm gonna go back. How much better can it get? If you have features on the new thing that you want, then consider it. But if you've got one of the older ones, it works fine. Don't bother upgrading. Version 2 is still available and is available at reduced costs. I happened to be on Apple's refurbished website the other day and saw a iWatch 2 for $99, refurbished. 1-year warranty, not a bad price when you consider they were $350 to start with. Other fitness bands. Fitbit's still in the area. They're still around. They've got the better bands now. They've got more features on their bands. The original one is still there. You can still get the original one. They've got timepieces now. Other manufacturers have come up with one. I believe Samsung's got a smartwatch that does measurements and talks to an Android phone. They're around $250 as an average mean price. If you're looking to buy a watch, think about one of those devices. They're kind of cool to have. They do a lot of things. They are especially handy, both the iWatches and the regular electronic watches. They're very handy if you're driving, because you can just talk to your watch. Seriously, you can just talk to your watch and your watch answers your messages. You can get it to respond to your texts. You don't have to take your eyes off the road. So it really is kind of a safety factor. Kind of a Dick Tracy thing, remember that? Let's talk for a second about the Android stuff. You know, there's 2 different major manufacturers. There's Apple and then there's everybody else. Android is run by Google. One day between these 3 technology giants, Microsoft, Google, and Android, they're gonna take on the world and we're all gonna wind up, God knows where we are. Tablets. Currently, Samsung is the leader in Android tablets. They are less expensive than an Apple product. They generally do many of the same tasks, although with a different operating system. They don't use iOS, they use Google's Android operating system. They do everything that you would expect a tablet to do, a miniaturized computer. They do email, they do browsing, they do shopping, they do almost anything you can need your home computer to do, a tablet can do. And many of you are starting to consider replacing your home computers with tablets. That works. That works. You can get keyboards for these tablets, both both Apple and Android, and they set up in front of you just like Ralph's got a computer in front of him. He's got the screen and he's got a keyboard below it, and it works. You can get them to talk to printers. They are becoming definite replacements or substitutes for the low-end laptops and PC systems. So they're pretty smart. I know a lot of my clients are starting to go to tablets and don't even need computers anymore. Phablet. What's a phablet? You have any idea?
No.
It's a big screen phone. It's a big screen phone. We called them phone tablets, and they've abbreviated that to be a phablet. Okay? I've got a iPhone 8 Plus. Okay? Big screen. I rarely use my iPad because this thing is big enough for me to do everything that I need to do with it. Most of the time. Most of the time. I read books, I browse, I can make things bigger or smaller by pinching. A phablet is a certain, a valid replacement for a lot of tablets. Although there are people that want that larger size phone factor. I will admit that holding this thing for a long time gets awkward. It would be nice to be able to prop it up on something and have it work, but you know, it does work. If you're looking at a mobile device, the current big one is the Samsung Note 9. The Note product has proven to be very stable throughout the Samsung life track, and it's going for about $1,000 now. Okay, it's a lot of money to spend for a phone, but you can sometimes find them an older version reconditioned at certain websites. I'm going to use the term reconditioned or refurbished. It's not a bad deal. When you're spending that much money for a piece of equipment, if you can buy it from the manufacturer being refurbished, a lot of times it comes with a 1-year warranty. If it's going to break, it's going to break within that first year. So it's not a bad deal. If you can save a couple of $100 by buying refurbished, not a bad idea. The Galaxy S9 is a lower cost alternative, doesn't have all the toys that a Note 9 does, and it's a little bit less expensive. The S9 Plus is a phablet, bigger screen, costs more. The Google Pixel is out now as well. I didn't have any specific information on that. You can go to any one of the cell carrier stores and find any of these phones here. Most of them have changed their marketing to the point where now you've got to buy the phone and then you add service on top. T-Mobile was the big organization that started that, and everybody else jumped on the bandwagon about 2 years ago. So now you're paying $800,000, $900,000 for a phone over monthly payments, and then you have your phone service added on top of that. Laptops and Chromebooks. Yes, there is a difference. A laptop is something that runs generally under Microsoft's or Apple's operating system. Most of the time when people buy laptops, they're buying a Microsoft operating system because the Microsoft systems are less expensive than buying an Apple iOS system. You can buy a decent laptop today for about $500. I just bought one for my mother-in-law. I got it at Sam's. It was a 17-inch HP, 17-inch, that's a big laptop. 17-inch laptop with a terabyte hard drive, and I think it had 12 gig of RAM on it, and it was $499. Good price. If you have the opportunity to go to either Sam's Club or Costco, you will find your better pricing on laptops there. They buy in bulk, but they also have a very limited inventory. If you go to the stores themselves, you have even less to pick from. You get more of a choice if you go to their websites. Generally, those stores have your higher end laptops, not necessarily at the higher end prices. That $500 laptop was an example. If I went to Best Buy to try to buy something like that, it would have been in the $800 range. One of the things that I suggest, because a lot of people don't know what they're looking for, go to a store and do some browsing. Find what you like, find a model or two that you like, get a price, and don't be badgered by the salesperson to buy right then. Take that model, go home, and start searching on the internet and see if you can find a better price for it. Sometimes you significantly can. These places that have brick and mortar stores know this happens. They try to get you in the building and they try to latch onto you so you buy at that time. If the prices are decent, you'll come back. If not, you won't. But it was nice to be able to look at that, and part of their pricing model includes the unit to have on display for somebody to look at. You almost always will find better prices online. Sometimes you may not get that online support. That might be the same thing as taking it into the store. So that's something you have to consider. But then again, with the computer, you don't have to worry about that because you've got us here, Computer Club. A Chromebook is a laptop-looking like thing that runs Google's Chrome operating system. It's an Android-like operating system that's basically built on a browser. So when you open this thing up, you can't do anything unless you open a browser. It's all basically an app-based kind of an operating system. And actually, you find a lot of the school districts have Chromebooks for their kids. I know that one of my grandsons, I think he was in 5th grade, and the entire 5th grade class had Chromebooks. They connect automatically to specific websites. They have them programmed to do this that are educational based, and the kids use to learn how to replace these things with books. A Chromebook, generally, because of the price, is a little bit more flexible. Most of them will come in what's called a 2-in-1 factor. So picture a laptop that opens up like this, okay? A Chromebook flips the screen so you can have keyboard on one side and screen on the other side. And when it's screen, it's a touch screen. It acts like a tablet. Gives you the benefit if you open it up like normal, you can type on it right away, but it also gives you the ability to do the 2-in-1 combination. So you get both tablet and laptop in the same form factor. It's okay. I've got one. I bought it refurbished. I think I paid $150 for it. Works fine. I have it sitting next to my chair right by my TV. I find that it is cheap enough where I can just leave it there, keep it charged up. Something happens on TV that I want to do a lookup on, it's right there. I use it a lot for using IMDb, which is the Internet Movie Database. When I want to find out, geez, that person looks familiar, what the heck were they in before? And I can pull it up right there. Internet-based, imdb.com, pull it up right there. I can also use it to do almost all of my shopping. If I see something right there on TV that I want to look at or find out about, I can go to Amazon.com or any one of the other internet-based sales tools. Brand new ones, I've seen them as low as $199. Not bad for an entry-level dual unit. You want something that's both a tablet and a laptop. Very comfortable to take if you're traveling. So let's get to the gifts under $100. First category that I put in here is a smart speaker. By definition, a smart speaker is something that you actually talk to and it talks back to you. Probably the leader in this marketplace right now is Amazon. They have got their Amazon Echo, Amazon Dot. There's a whole bunch of products they've got now, commonly known as Alexa. I have got 3 of these in my house. Now, there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. I have 3 of these in my house. I've got a really big Echo in my kitchen because it gives really nice sound. And then I've got, in my office, I've got a little bitty hockey puck, which is called the Dot. And then in my bedroom, I've got another one called the Dot. The nice thing about this is I can now have the same iHeart music station play on all 3 of these at the same time. I can walk from room to room to room instead of spending $1,000 for another system called the Sonos. Sonos is like having a home intercom or home speaker system. By spending, I think I spent a total of $200, not even that, because I got my Echo for $99, and each one of the Dots for, I think, Black Friday sales for $29 a piece. So $160. I now have the ability to communicate with the outside world on my own terms. The Amazon Dot is now got a new generation. I'm not exactly sure what the difference is in terms of quality. It's slightly differently shaped, where the Dot looked like a hockey puck. The new version, version 3, is kind of a little bit more rounded. Looks like a hockey puck that got stepped on. So it's kind of bulged out. But, there's, every year they come out with a new version of these. I'm not necessarily chasing that rabbit anymore either. I've got something that works until I have a reason to go and get a feature where I don't have it and I really need it. That's fine. Amazon has come out within the last year video stream, smart speakers. Basically, you talk to it and it pulls the web page up for you, or it pulls up YouTube and gives you the instructions on how to bake a cookie, bake a cake, or something like that. That's fine. The really cool thing about those is you can integrate those into your home electronic system, like a Ring doorbell or a Ring security camera. And when someone comes to your front door, their picture pops up. So you can see any place in the house where you have one of these devices if someone's coming to your front door. Integrates that way. New player on the market here is Google. They've got a device called Google Home, Google Hub, and what's the newest one called? The Google Mini. The Google Mini is marketed directly at the Amazon Dot. Rumor has it that their prices are going to be really low around Black Friday. So they're trying to get into the market. On Black Friday, Amazon generally puts their Dots on sale for $29 to $39, depending on what time you get it on Black Friday. I've heard that the Google Mini may be as low as 19 bucks. So if you're interested in getting into the smart speaker area, think about looking at Google. It's going to be a horse race. These two are pretty closely matched in terms of capabilities and skills. Skills are the availability to have these things do things for you. The last I heard, there were more than 256,000 skills that the Amazon Alexa could do. 256,000 things. It's amazing what these things can do for you. I got mine programmed to give me my daily briefing. When I'm fixing my coffee in the morning, I ask, Alexa, what's my daily briefing? She tells me what the weather is, she tells me the news headlines, and she tells me what the traffic is like on the way to work. I used to get that information from the radio. I don't listen to the radio anymore. I just talk to Alexa. One of the things that's a very popular topic right now is cutting your cable cord. Getting rid of Comcast, getting rid of AT&T, getting rid of Dish. It can't be done. And it used to require you to put in an antenna. Not so much anymore. Frank is going to talk next month about how to do a basic version of cutting your cable. I've run workshops before at the computer club where we talk about cutting your cable. Very popular. We've turned people away. We normally start those classes at 6:30 in the evening, and by 10 minutes after 6, we're turning people away. That's how popular they are. So we've done them twice. I'm sure Frank will probably put another one together in the springtime. Cutting your cable cord is really fairly simple. What you need is a internet connection and a streaming media device. These are devices that attach to your TV and connect to your internet service and allow you to get live TV or special subscription packages. Now, up until recently, you had to have an antenna to get live TV. Not anymore. Hulu has got live TV. Google has got live TV, and there is a service that AT&T is offering called Direct Now. Those services generally start at about $45, but $45 a month is one heck of a lot less than you're paying for cable. Hardware, you need one of these devices to plug into your TV. It's called a streaming media device. There's several different kinds around. Amazon has got them. They call They're called Fire Sticks or Fire devices. Roku is probably one of the most popular one. It's a little stick that plugs into the USB connection, stick that plugs into the HDMI connection in your TV. You then program it to connect to the internet, and then you subscribe to things that you want to watch. Probably one of the most popular things to subscribe to would be Netflix, which are movies and TV shows from last season and back. If you want to watch current TV, that would be Hulu, and live TV would be Hulu. DirecTV Now is basically subscribing to cable. You get everything live, what's on the TV at that, what's on the cable channels at that time. There's a third service out there called Sling. I use Sling quite a bit because it gives me the things that I used to watch on cable. We watch HGTV, we watch cooking, we watch DIY, all of those scripts, and there's another manufacturer. But these two networks have bonded together and created the Sling device, the Sling subscription. Sling cost me $20 a month. That's not bad if that's all I've got. $20 a month and I get all the TV stations I used to have before. Now I've got an antenna in my attic. Works pretty well. Not perfect, but pretty well, considering we're out in the middle of nowhere. Okay? If you want more, you can get more. But you need to think about a streaming media device. Smart TVs. Now this is one area where you will probably, the next time you purchase a TV, you will get an internet-enabled TV. It will come with some basic apps on it. It'll come with Netflix, it'll probably come with Hulu, probably come with iHeart or Pandora. iHeart and Pandora are music services that you can subscribe to for free. This gives your TV the availability to connect to the internet and play these movies. You're not locked in to what cable gives you. Of course, keep in mind that if you have a TV, you either need an antenna or you need some sort of service that'll give you your TV stations. So, and then it really depends upon your internet service. You must have a decent internet service to start with. Okay? Now, those of you that have Comcast are pretty much guaranteed that you have more than enough bandwidth to handle several TVs to do this at the same time. AT&T is somewhat questionable. Fox Valley, unless you've got an upgraded connection, might be even more questionable. Okay? You need bandwidth. Generally, bandwidth in this community is measured by speed. The more speed you have, the more bandwidth you have. Bandwidth is the capacity to bring signal into your TV. So either one of these devices, these groups will help you cut the cable cord, but you may need to consider upgrading your internet connection if you're using something other than Comcast. Here's something that someone suggested. When they asked me to do this, I said, okay, what do you want me to talk about? And I gave them a whole bunch of things, and they said, yeah, that's all good. Here, by the way, here's something you might want to think about. This is something called Cardia, and it's by a company called AliveCore. Now, I don't really have a concern yet where I have to worry about doing an online EEG. Although there are people in this community that I know that are concerned about this particular situation. They want to know if they start feeling weird, is it their heart? Is something going on weird? If they've got a heart condition, they may want to know about this. This device will do it for you. It starts at $99. And as I understand it, it is a device that you wear, like an armband or something like that, and feeds back real time on your phone. Gives you an EEG or AFib right there. It tells you exactly what your status is. Okay. They have other devices where you can go out and do the same thing for people that are diabetic. Abbott has got a product they call, I think it's Freestyle, but I could be wrong. What's it? Freestyle? Okay. Freestyle is this gizmo where you basically stick it in your arm and you leave it there. And then a couple of times a day, you can take a look at your monitoring device and it will tell you exactly what your sugar level is. Now, I'm diabetic. I'm thankfully not a uncontrolled diabetic. I can do a injection in the morning and I'm good all day. But I know that there are many of you that have to measure several of times a day. This device is really something you might want to think about. Okay? I know my doctor suggested it to me. My insurance company doesn't cover it. So I'm going to stay with the old traditional way of sticking myself in the morning. But those of you that are really concerned about doing frequent monitoring, you might want to think about upgrading to that Freestyle device. So, it's time to ask Santa for the stuff that you might not have. If you don't have one, you should consider having an external hard drive. You either need an external backup service or an external hard drive. I just recently bought an external hard drive from Amazon. I bought a Toshiba Canvio drive for $65, a 2 terabyte drive. That's unbelievably cheap. Why do I need this? Why do you need this? It's because you have information on your computer that's not replaceable. You probably have music, you probably have pictures, you probably have documents. If you plug these things into your laptop or your computer system and use the backup program built into Windows, it will automatically back up your data, and you can also set it to do a snapshot of your hard drive every month. If you don't know what I'm talking about, come to one of our computer club sessions on backup. We will show you how to do this. It's cheap insurance. I can't tell you how many times I go to a client and they say the computer won't boot. Okay, we're gonna buy a new one. Smart choice, your machine's 10 years old. What about the information that was on the old one? It's gone. What do you mean it's gone? Do you have a backup? No, it's gone. I can't get it. It is gone. Now, that's true in about half the time. If the reason the computer died was the hard drive, it's gone. There's no way we can recover it efficiently. If it's not the hard drive, we might be able to take the hard drive out and try to extract the information from it. But why do I have to go, why does anybody have to go through that if you were to spend the $65 and plug this thing in? You can just stick it in the back of the machine. It doesn't need power or anything. Plug it in, leave it behind there, and set it once and walk away. Magic happens. A real surge protector. Okay, fess up now. How many of you have your computer plugged into one of those power strips? Yeah. How much protection you get on one of those? Zero. You get a lightning surge through your house, and that thing is toast. It does a fuse. Those power strips are worthless in terms of anything other than giving you power. There's zero protection from those. Don't even worry so much about your computer. Worry more about that $3,000 TV you bought and that sound bar. That's stuff that you need to protect. Buy a surge protector and use it for your TV. Use it for your sound bar. I've got 5 different surge protectors in my house. One in each group of electronics. And then I've got one in my office that's monitoring all my internet connection stuff. If I get a surge from ComEd, and it happens, lightning hits someplace near the house, they can't stop that. It's going to go out and blow out everything in the house. You've heard about it. Gone. Toast. Including everything you got connected to it. The better surge protector you buy, the better protection you have. It will absorb that shock. Battery backup. Those of you that have towers still probably should be worried about having a battery backup, especially if you're running a small business in your home. The last thing you want to have is you have your power go out and have your system lose your data. Anything you are doing currently. You can buy a battery backup for as little as, what's it say, 57 bucks at Amazon. Average size price. Plug it in, it works. You don't have to do anything to it. If you have a smart speaker, you may want to start thinking about automating your home by voice command. I'm starting to do this in my house. My wife thinks this is space-age technology. I can walk into the room and say, Alexa, turn on the living room lamp. And she says, okay, and the lamp comes on. I've got, Alexa, turn on the Christmas tree lights. The lamp where the Christmas tree usually goes turns on. Alexa, turn on the Christmas village lights. On the other side of the room, where the buffet is, the lamp that's by the buffet turns on. Alexa, turn on the outside Christmas lights. My outside outlet activates. I've got my entire house, I shouldn't say my entire house, at least one room in every one of my house rooms connected to with one of these GoSun smart plugs. These are about 25 bucks. You get a package of 3 of them. You need a smartphone to set them up. Once you set them up, they connect to your internal network, and they just work. I've had no problems with this brand. I've had some problems with other brands, but this one just seems to work. It interfaces my smart speaker with my choices. On top of that, not only does it respond to voice controls, but I can set these up to a schedule. So you remember those mechanical timers you had? I don't use them anymore. I use these instead. These and Alexa to control my house. One very cool thing is when I'm going to bed at night, I can say, Alexa, good night. And she turns off all the lights in the house. I don't have to worry about it. If I don't tell her to go to bed, the lights go up until the point of their program, and then they turn off automatically. So it's pretty cool. Under 25 bucks. USB flash drives. A techie cannot have enough of these. Okay? One of my most favorite ones is
Reach into the coat pocket here.
one of my favorite ways of carrying my data around is on my keychain. Okay? I have a USB drive here that's 64 gigs in size and fits onto my keychain. It's metal. I carry it around, I think it was 25 bucks. It's called a Kingston Traveler, and it's almost indestructible. Why do I have it on my keychain? Because I kept leaving these at clients' places when I left. If I keep it on my keys, guess what? I can't leave unless I take my keys with me, and this comes with me. So I keep it on my keys. This has been here for a couple of years. Absolutely works perfectly. Little scratched up doesn't mean it's not going to function. These are perfect stocking stuffer gifts, not only for techies, but for grandkids. Okay? $10, $15. You can buy a 32 gig stick now for 15 bucks. Perfect thing to drop in a stocking stuffer. Keyboard and mouse pad gels. These are these things that you rest your wrists on when you're using your computer, I used to think that was hocus pocus. I used to think that it was unnecessary, not needed. I used a mouse pad, but not the gel. And to be quite honest with you, in the last couple of years, I started realizing that ergonomics is a real important part of using your computer, especially if you use it for any length of time. I took my wife's suggestion, and she said, I want a set of these for my office. Okay, so I got her a set, and I bought myself a set too. We'll see what, you know how she is. So, but son of a gun, I started using them, and I actually did see a difference. My wrists, my fingers don't get as fatigued as they used to. My shoulders feel better. It makes a big difference. Buy the better ones. I happen to have ones that are made by 3M. I think they were like 15 bucks each. They're gel filled, but they're not gooey gel. I actually got one from Amazon that was broken, and it was dripping, kind of sent it right back. But these things, they're firm, but they're not squishy. If I can understand, if I can relate to that, they work. They're 10 to 15 bucks each. Great stocking stuffers. If you're interested in doing some home surveillance, there's a new manufacturer of cameras out there that is a fraction of what you'll find in some of the other brands. If you go out and buy a Nest camera, you're looking at 200 bucks, okay? Minimum. More if you want the one with the spotlight on it, okay? The Nest products are nice, but they're very expensive. If you just want to try this out to see if it's of any value to you, try Wyze. These are little devices that still require power. I've got one, my garage is an L to the rest of my house. I've got one in my garage window pointing towards my front door. It's inside, plugged in, wireless. I can pull up the picture on my phone. It can trigger me, it can let me know if there's motion. Of course, in my case, I've got a flag in front of my house, so every time the flag goes, it doesn't, so I have to turn the motion off. But I can get it to do all kinds of things that the more expensive cameras can do. And the smaller one was 20 bucks. And the fancier one that allows you to control it to move it was 30. Entry-level cameras that will tell you as to whether or not this is worth something you want to consider doing. If you find out that these work, and they're pretty decent cameras, you may want to think about investing with something larger or something that's tied into your security system. I have a security system by a company called SimpliSafe. I put it in myself. They have cameras that are available for 100 bucks. It ties directly into my security system. If it detects motion, it sets the alarm off. USB headsets. If you do any kind of Skyping, any kind of a video chatting, it's really nice to have a video headset because you've got the sound and voice contained immediately. Most laptops have built-in microphones, have built-in cameras, built-in speakers, but in most cases, the microphones that you get with these laptops aren't of the best quality. And sometimes it shows when you're trying to use a Skype conversation. So if you do a lot of those, it's just easier having a headset. I happen to work from home quite a bit, and we use WebEx. WebEx is one of these collaboration tools. WebEx allows me to connect directly to my people through my computer, rather than using an external phone. That's one of the reasons why I have a USB headset. Cheap, 15, 20 bucks. Logitech is a good brand. A mobile device charging station. I don't know what your house is like, but before I put one of these together, we had phones and tablets and computers all over the house plugged into different places. When you walk into my house from the garage, you walk into the utility room. right next to the washing machine. I put a charging station up right there. What's a charging station? I went to the hardware store and got one of those shelves that you would put in a kitchen cabinet, you know, the ones that you put your dishes on top of. And I went to Amazon and ordered a 60-watt USB charging station. All it is a place where you can plug in up to 6 devices USB. I mounted that thing underneath the shelf and put all my cords on top. And now when we walk into the house, we plug our devices in right there. One spot, one location, in the door, out the door, works so much easier, not cluttered all over the house. Took a little bit of training to get us used to doing that, but now it's automatic. Inexpensive. The charger itself was about 25 bucks. The shelf, I think, was 10. Good stocking stuffer gift. How many of you have lightning connectors on your iPhones? That little narrow thing? You know, those things don't work with headphones unless you buy them from Apple, or you use the set of headphones that come with that iPhone device. I've got probably a dozen sets of earbuds around the house that I've gotten from various places, and none of them work with my iPhone until I went out and bought these iPhone adapters. These little things generally come 2 in a pack. It's a lightning connector and a headphone jack. Little thing, it's only about an inch and a half long. And I put one of those in almost every one of my earbud connectors, packages where I keep my earbuds. I now can use my iPhone with my earbuds anyplace. I've always got an adapter with me. Buy more than one, you'll lose them. They're small. I've lost a bunch of them. They're relatively inexpensive. I think I paid $9.99 for a package of 2, Amazon. Great stocking stuffer. Most kids have iPhones. Now, if you use Bluetooth speakers, you don't need one of these things. Most of the kids have Bluetooth, so they don't use these adapters. It's us old guys that use these old earbuds and headphones. So we're the ones that need the adapters. Charging pad. This is a device that I bought for my iPhone when I got an iPhone 8. It works on some of the Android phones as well, the newer ones. When I walk in, I don't plug my phone into my charging station. I don't plug it in with one of those lightning things. I've got this little charging pad that sits on my charging station, and I just put my phone on top of it, and it charges it. What a great gizmo. I don't have to worry about fussing with the thing, trying to get my glasses to see what the heck I'm doing to open the connector. I just drop it on there. When I drop it on there, the little ring inside of the device lights up, tells me I'm charging my phone. Great, great gift. 15 bucks. Amazon. Bluetooth speakers. I didn't bring mine with me, but this is an external speaker. This is a little device that looks, about half the size of a pop can. Okay, there's a pop can over here. About half the size of a pop can, about the same diameter around. Most common brand is called JAM, J-A-M. This is a device about $20. You connect your phone to your external speaker using Bluetooth, and it takes the quality of the sound and improves it 150%. It sounds great. We take one almost wherever we travel. It's so small, it plugs in using a USB connector, charges up real quickly. Why do we use this? Because the sound coming out of this device is awful. It's scratchy, it's tinny. If I connect it to a JAM speaker, it becomes music again. And we use it for we listen to iHeart almost all the time, doing some sort of an iHeart kind of a thing. But the quality of the sound is so much better. 20 bucks, you'll see a huge difference. Those of us that are old school are still using earbuds or headphones. Now, I've got hearing aids now. The hearing aids I bought are Bluetooth connected. So it's pretty cool. I can listen to iHeart through my phone, through my hearing aids. But for those of us that don't have hearing aids yet, or have them that aren't Bluetooth connected, we tend to use over-the-ear headphones. Having the flexibility to walk around without a wire attached to us is really nice. So you get yourself a set of Bluetooth or wired over-the-ear headphones. Comfortable ones. I just bought a really nice pair of comfortable ones for my wife. I think I paid $30 for them. They fold up real nice. They travel. The thing that she likes about them is she can take them on an airplane, and they're noise-canceling headphones. You know what a noise-canceling headphone does? It gets rid of all that background jet noise. Very nice. Very nice. Not so high tech. In fact, definitely not high tech. But I'm a pretty new user of hearing aids. One of the things I found out is that these batteries don't last. In fact, they are very unpredictable and generally last nowhere near what they're supposed to. And there's very little warning when they go out. So sometimes I get as much as 10 minutes before it tells me it's going to die. I bought this little plastic container. I think it was $4, made by Rayovac. It stores 3 hearing aid batteries. $4, person that wears hearing aids will love this. I've got one on every one of my keychains. It is perfect. Great stocking stuffer for somebody who has hearing aids. So, I'm just about finished up here. You can tell that I'm a big fan of Amazon. I buy a lot of things there. I almost never go to the store anymore. Okay? I go to Aldi for milk. That's about as far as I go. I even get some of my groceries from Amazon. But Amazon's not the only place out there that does this. Walmart is pretty decent at it. There are other electronic places you can go to. You can go to Crutchfield. I generally don't buy much at Best Buy because I generally don't find the prices I'm looking for at Best Buy. Your mileage may vary. You know, shop where you think you're going to get the best service. These ideas came from people in the community here. I talked to a lot of people. I said, what would you like to see in your Christmas stocking this year? And most of them said, well, not much has changed. And they're right. It's a lot of the same old, maybe slightly improved. Nothing really exciting here, except maybe that medical information, which you may not have heard about. So that's why I focused more on the stocking stuffer side of the stuff. I think you'll find that in that section there, we talked about stuff that almost everyone can use or find benefit. Questions?
Battery replacement. I made a comment about battery replacement
On battery replacement on what?
on all of these devices.
Oh, okay, good question. Many of your mobile devices today don't contain replaceable batteries. Okay, iPhones for years have never had battery replacements. When the battery dies, you got to take it into Apple and have it fixed. Okay, it's usually cheaper or more cost-effective to buy a new phone because chances are you've had that device for 4 years and it's probably ready to be upgraded. Many thin laptops today, the thinner ones, have internal batteries that are not replaceable. There are still some phones that allow you to replace batteries. And there are still some phones that allow you to increase your storage capacities, but those are becoming far and few between. Just remember, if you have a battery replaceable device, it's probably gonna weigh more. And not much, but it's probably gonna weigh more, and it's gonna be more of an inconvenience. So you're finding more and more manufacturers are not giving you that option. But it might be something, if you're interested in making sure that you can replace that battery, ask the question before you purchase. Because most of the time, the specs don't tell you that. Bill?
Well, I was gonna ask, can you intermix, like I have Google, Hey Google at home,
Mhm.
can I get Alexis from another room? Can you intermix those?
They don't talk to each other, okay? But you can get them to control the same devices. So for instance, I could have Google control my living room lamp, and I could have Alexa control my living room lamp. Okay? They can both coordinate because it's a device that has the ability to connect through your own network to multiple transmission devices. Okay? In the back?
Are you worried about Alexa listening to all your conversations?
Am I worried about it? No. Here's the reason why. Okay, am I worried about Alexa listening to everything I'm doing? No, I'm not. Because in today's age of technology, there's no such thing as privacy. You use Google, they're watching. You use Bing, they're watching. There's no such thing as privacy. You have a web-based email, they're watching. There's no such thing as privacy. You cannot insist upon that. I know Alexa's listening to me because there are times where I'll be carrying on a conversation with my wife. Alexa will come up and say, "I'm sorry, I don't understand that." Something triggered her, and I don't know what it is, but I know she's listening all the time. Okay? George?
Yeah, one of the things that comes up all the time is when there's Alexa's ad on television. And all of a sudden she say, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Every automobile ad.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing I was just gonna mention. Amazon is coming out with an automobile version of Alexa. It still hasn't been released. I've got my name on the list. So I'd love to play with new toys.
Will, how much bandwidth do you have to have for internet to go cut the cord?
That's a good question. If you've got Comcast service, you don't have to worry about it. I think Comcast's minimum availability is 50 gigabytes. I'm sorry, 50 megabytes. I believe you can upgrade to higher capacities, but you really don't need to. AT&T, their speed varies. Most of the people that I talk to seem to have gotten their mid-range package, which is 18 to 20 megabyte. That might work if that's all you're doing, but if you have a couple of TVs and a computer, or maybe a tablet, and maybe a phone connected to that, you're gonna start seeing some degradation in picture quality if you're doing things like Netflix.
AT&T has 1,000 megabytes available here in Del Webb.
They have a greater service now?
Yes.
Okay, how much more does it cost?
Megabits, okay, gigabits, whatever it is. Last time I called, it was like 42 bucks for 1,000.
Okay, that's a good price. 42 bucks for 1,000?
But every time we call, it's changed, so.
Yeah, I'm not in the habit of wanting to play games with all these companies. I like to just go to one and say, you've got my business. But for some of you, I know that's a game that you love to play. So have at it.
Okay, any other questions?
I got a quick one. Hey Google goes through Bluetooth on my phone. I wanted to connect something else to it. And my techie grandson said only one Bluetooth at a time.
That's correct.
Nothing I can do about it.
Nothing you can do about it. Bluetooth is a single connection device.
My grandson was right.
Yeah, occasionally they are. One day, they're looking at making changes to Bluetooth. I think it's 4.0. We'll be able to connect multiple things to it.
Anybody else with a question? Okay,
Thanks, everyone.
we thank you all.